Okay, I think we've got this working. So get a little bit better at this every day. All right. So today, what I want to do, so we were working on a pet app yesterday. Today, I want to go back to the VFL thing because I just want to take it a step further from the designs that we had done over into some code. So we're going to do a quick transition from just a design into what we would call a design system. We're not going to flesh that out. We're just going to do that really quickly, and then we'll take that and move that into React code. The React part's not important, but that's okay. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our Figma program. And so we're just going to grab this Oxy one and we're going to copy it into a new file. And the reason I keep using Oxy is just basically because this photo of him is super dynamic. And I think it's just, it's just it's a good picture, like the way he's, I don't know, just feels very friendly. So I like this one a lot. And what we're going to do is we are going to start to take this apart and create some values. We're going to use these values to start to define our design system. So if we look at this component, we have gray 600. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and grab this color, and we're going to say, we're going to title this gray 600. And actually, let's go ahead and frame that. So frame, just a little bit easier to name things this way. You'll see why we're doing it this way in a second. So um, let's see, gray 600. Where's the go? Gray 800. And I know there's more. We got gray 950. And colors don't automatically come named by this. These are based off something called Tailwind. So if I go back into the original file, I can literally just go in and say I want one of these colors. These are pre-made colors. You can, you can use one, you can break it apart, you can customize it. It's really easy to do that. I like starting with them because the colors are just really designed to work in harmony with each other. So I tend to use them a lot, especially if I'm doing something fairly quickly. I don't know what color this is and where this is coming from. I think that this is maybe, see if we kill this, if this is actually anywhere, even in the app. So, okay, that's that. So that should be the same as 950. So that should be using this same color. I'm not exactly sure why that's separate. Oh, okay, it is. All right, and then we'll grab this yellow, and we'll just call this, I guess we'll just call it gold because it's somewhere between yellow and orange. So gold is fine. And this should be the same color. Yes, it is. And then what else do we want to do? Okay, so we need this linear gradient. This is going to be a little bit more difficult. Oh, see, that is where that color came from. Okay, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. We'll deal with that in a minute. But for now, these are essentially our four colors. All right, now we're going to just write down the values that we're working with. So um, there's a few that we're going to have here. So we're going to have padding. Goodness, same problem as yesterday. Padding, margin, spacing, etc. And these should actually be really straightforward to do. Okay, so if I look at this, um, and actually let's just type in default width. So the default width of this card that we're working with is it 209 or is it 217? We're going to go with, we'll just say plus border. Now this card is going to be responsive, which means it resizes with you according to the browser. But I think for the sake of what we're doing, it's good to have a starting point. All right, we're already seeing one of our padding set at 4 pixels. Actually, let me point out to you where that was. My goodness, we're just going to say 4. So if I select this, we have our gap here, which is 8. There actually is not a gap on this card because it's one element. If there were multiple elements within it, there would be. But you can see here, this is our padding that we have on the card. So 4, and then if we select the card within that, we got 0. If we go down here to this element, we have 16, 16, nothing, nothing. Typically, so when doing design like this, I mean, with doing any design, we want things to feel very consistent. And really quickly, by the way, let me just test the stream, make sure it's working. Okay, it is working. It seems to be working great. Okay, so we build things off of typically an 8-point design system. So, 8, 16, 24, 48, something like that. Sometimes you have values in between like 20, 40, etc. And then downwards 4, 2, 1, 0. Sometimes you have half values. As you get smaller, you need more specific values down to a half pixel. Anyway, the idea here is that you want some visual consistency. You want nice placing of things down the page. So you want things to feel like they're, hitting evenly down the page. So you're not having elements be like, I don't know, here and here. You want them to be like kind of lined up. And this isn't always going to be super specific, but you want things to feel like they're flowing down a page really, really consistently in a consistent pattern. And likewise, you want your margins and your padding around things to feel really consistent. That's why we're seeing 4 and 16. Let's look at the radius real quick. So radius is how the corners are around it. So on the outer element, they're 20. On the inner element, they're 16. 20, 16. And let's see if we've got any margins here or anything else. Oh, we should have spacing, minimum spacing between here. This is probably going to be 8 or 16. We actually don't have anything here, which is, good thing to have. We'll just make it 16. Oh, I see why, because it has to be auto. Anyway, we'll figure that out in the code. What's this element got? Yeah, so again, 8. It's got a bit more specific values. We got a 2 there. So 2, 4, 8, 16. And while we're at it, let's just hop over here over into the original file. So we've got 16, 16, 48. So you can see these values are super consistent. And then, we have 24 here. Let's just go ahead and capture those since we are already in the file. And, we're showing paddings and margins separate. I guess we're not really doing much with margins or padding. And so these all really fall under spacing anyway within Tailwind. So these are really all the values that I think we need to worry about for today, for right now. Now, with the design system, what we could do is we could set this up so that these are easy to use in building other components. And the way we would do that is we would grab these values and then we would work with something called variables. And we're going to start by creating a color. Oops, that's wrong. That's okay. We're going to call this primitives. You could call this globals, but this is basically your raw values. I like to use pretty much all lowercase for everything. It just makes life simpler. And we can go ahead and delete this value, I think. We're going to create a new variable for colors. We're going to do this. Create collection. Yep, this is our first collection. Can I not delete this? I should be able to delete this. Why can I not delete it? Delete variable. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and say, this is gray 600. And actually, it should be gray 600. And this is important because then all your grays become grouped together. And then we've got, gray 800. Say, oops. find this variables palette, the way that the key commands work with it, a little bit awkward. Gray 800. And then we've got gray 950. And we actually notice we don't have black here because we're actually going to always use a really dark gray for our, I mean, I guess we're actually not doing anything on white, but if we were, we would be doing it on, we would be using gray text. Why? Okay, just go away. All right, this is awkward. My goodness. Like I said, I don't really like how this is set up. All right, we're going to delete this value and do it again. $9.50. There we go. Okay, so that's it for the colors, and we will go ahead and say, so that's our primitives for the colors, and now we will go ahead and list our units. So we're just gonna, yeah, I think we could just say 2. These are just gonna be all of our units. Oops. I want to create a new mode. You'll see how modes work later. And we're going to add number 4, number 8, 16, 24. It's a little silly that you have to really just rename these the same thing, but that's just how it works in Figma. You'll see how this can be helpful in a little bit. Did we do 2? We did. It can also be 1 and then 0. Yeah. Let's go ahead and be able to reorganize these. Yeah. So I think that's all we need. All right, now we have our primitives done. I guess we could go ahead and just call these units actually. So let's just call this unit 0. And then we should be able to drag all the rest of these right there. Can I do this as a group? Okay, good. Cool. That's good. All right, and then we're going to create a new collection, and we're going to call this collection colors, and or we could call it theming, either or. Let's call it theming, and you'll see why in a second. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new variable here, and we're going to call this background, and our default value is going to be dark. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and grab our gray 950. Actually, it's not the 950. I think it's this one. And then what this allows us to do if we want is we can create a new mode, and this can be our light mode, and then our background could be white, which we don't have a white here. Let's go ahead and create that just for the sakes of demoing how things work. So color, we just call it white. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. You'll see how this works in a second, and we'll call this dark. Dark is the default. You can also create one, called purple, something like that. And actually, for the sake of the demo, why don't we do that? Let's just create a new mode called purple, and we'll just break this and change it to a nice like purple color, just for the sake of demonstration a little bit later. Okay, so that's our primary color. What else? So we have that background color, and then our text is going to be, our default text is going to be white, and here we'll make it gray. We're only going to build out the dark mode, but it'll be fun to demo the light mode really quickly. And then what are we going to say? I remember how we set this up. I mean, we can call this accents, and that'll be our gold color. We not add that? We did not. We'll call this gold 500. It's like in the middle, and this will be this color. Okay. And what did we say? Yeah, I'm a little bit torn on whether to do uppercase or lowercase with certain aspects. That's something I've not figured out with Figma, is where I want to use uppercase and lowercase. I tend to default to lowercase if I don't know. Okay, what we do next? Oh yeah, our accent color. We're going to use the gold here, and we are going to, we want to make sure we pull that from the library and not just grab white. So we want to be pulling this color from the library always. And this is nice because then if you decide to change your definition of white to be like off-white or something, you go into the primitive, you change it here, and you're done. What other colors do we need to figure out? I think we have our border color, which in this case is going to be our gray 600, and we can keep it the same for both. That's fine. And then what we can start to do is we can start to say where these values show up. So I only want to show it up on fills. Do I want it to show up on stroke and effects? Yeah, I think in effects, I want it. Effects would be like a drop shadow. Yes, I want to be able to grab that value, I think. No, let's leave it off for now. Frame shape, we don't want it to be in text, right? Because this is really just for filling areas, filling things up. Then let's text, we just want in text, right? So we don't want it anywhere else. Our border, we only want to show up as a border, which would be a stroke. So we're going to keep that there. What else do we have? Accent. I think this could show up. Might show up in stroke. I don't think so. Definitely not in effects. We'll just keep it in frame and shape for now. Border. Go. Yeah, and actually let's make this accent the same in all of them, just for the heck of it. And then purple. Make this purple darker, just for the sake of demoing this in a little bit. So, okay, cool. And then if we go ahead, we want to, what we can do, I'm going to duplicate this card so that we can undo these things if we need to. But we're going to go ahead and change this gray and this gray, and nothing's happening yet, right? Nothing's happened quite yet, but you'll see in a second. What this allows us to do is, let's make sure that we're using the correct white here. Yeah, we want to make sure we're using text, not just white. So we don't want to grab that generic white value. We want to grab text. And that brings me to a good point, which is that in our primitives, we want to make sure our primitive values are not showing up. So we actually want to go through all of these and say, don't show these anywhere, right? So they'll still show up in our other variable palettes, but they won't show up anywhere else, right? So, if we show up, we go down here, if we were to create a new color, right? You should be able to grab any of these colors from the library. But if we were to go here, you wouldn't be able to see it. You can only see these two things. Ignore the rest of this stuff. Actually, we're going to turn this off. That's a library I have preloaded always. So now you should not see those. Yeah, so now you only see the two colors that we've configured. So we'll keep that there. This will be cool. You're going to see the change. So let's see. Let's take a look at this player card again. The stroke, we want to make sure that's using the border. Let's just border, linear, gold 500, accent, background. We want this to be using we're missing the dark fill one. So how do we do that? Let's call it dark fill. I don't know. I don't like that word, but it's like darker than the background. But then on your lighter one, it's not going to be dark, right? That's going to be lighter. I don't know. We're just going to call it that for now. That's fine. Whatever. Then should be dark fill. That's incorrect. What did I mess up here? Right. What is it that is using this color? Oh, I think it's something behind this card. So we're actually going to, I think it's this. I think it's the color behind this gradient. Yeah, there it is. Okay. We'll just break that. And I don't know. Linear gradients are handled just differently. They aren't handled super elegantly in Figma unless they rolled out some way to do that. They just did an update yesterday, so who knows? But okay, so here's what's cool about this is that now, if we want to, we can go ahead and say change our appearance. We're going to go into our theming and change it to light mode, and everything should have swapped to light mode. What happened here? Like our background should have swapped to light mode. Okay, it's because the fills are incorrect. That's why. Yeah, I think that looks right. Oh, this should be using the text. Yeah, and so now we should be able to switch seamlessly between light, dark, and then purple. And you can just see it's picking up those colors. So that's what's cool about design systems. Today we're only going to work with the dark color. And now that we have our palette a bit defined, and something that'll be nice for us to do is just to go ahead and paste. Do we want to do this? Yeah, we can go ahead and paste the value of this in here. Sure, we use the text color, and then we will wait. Oh my goodness. Just hold your values things. All right. Do we have everything centered here? Oh my goodness. This is why they just changed it. They must have changed it since yesterday. I don't want freeform. I want. Okay. Where do I see? Okay, that's all I wanted was that. I think I accidentally framed these. Okay, they changed the UI like this morning or yesterday. They relaunched it, so I'm a little bit confused as to how they're trying to make this work, but whatever. Okay, well this is turning out to be much harder than it should be. Things are going slower too here on this computer probably because I'm streaming and I probably don't have it set up properly or something. Whatever, we're gonna be done with this. It's good to have it perfect, but just because we're in the state of like we're just trying to be, I guess, a little bit faster paced and a bit leaner here. I don't want to be like really stuck on all the details. I just want to get to something within our time limit. Okay, so we got our theming done. Let's also do our, I'm going to do spacing as a separate collection. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to create, unfortunately, we're just going to create all these numbers again. So, it's just a little awkward, but the reason that we do it this way is we just want it to be consistent. So we're going to create one, and then instead of creating one, we're just going to grab that unit. And in theory, the way that this works is you would have like your spacing be like small, medium, large, something like that. And that way, if you want to change it in the future, you can go into your primitives and change it. But in reality, and I think things used to work like that, like maybe 10 years ago. But in reality, everything really just sticks to a specific like pixel value, almost always in a multiple of 4, of 8 or 4, sometimes 4. Okay, and what we can do here, what's nice about having this set up is again that we can go in and say, what do these apply to? We're going to actually turn everything off by default, and we're going to say that they automatically should all apply to our gap. Do we have padding? Should have like padding and margin there. That's weird. Let's see if it's showing up, because it should be showing up here. We make this auto layout, then it should show up in these. Okay, it is showing up there. It is showing up here. And real quick, let me make sure it's showing up the units, not the primitives. Yeah, okay, so these are not set to show anywhere. Okay, that's good. Good. And then the one more that I want to do is I'm going to create one for, yeah, we're just going to do this here. So we're going to say, I think, what did we say for our radiuses? So we have 20 and 16. So we're going to allow these two specifically to show up in radii and corner radius. There we go. 20. Okay, so we're going to actually have to create a new variable for that. Do we want to do that? Oh, shoot. We didn't want this here. We wanted this in the other file. Okay, so we're going to have to create a new one. 20. So this is why we do all of our units up here. And then in our spacing, I don't want it here. So we're going to just create a new collection called radii. There's slightly different ways to organize this. The most important thing is that you just want to be consistent with your organization so that somebody can go back in the future and be like, oh, this is how they did this. This is why they did this. We said 16. I'm going to do 16 and then 24. And I'm guessing that we're also probably going to end up, oh, it's 20. Sorry, it's 20. We'll just leave it there. I think that we probably also end up using 4 and 8 elsewhere in the design, but we're just going to stick with what we have in front of us. Okay, so what this enables us to do is now we can go into our card and say, so this has a padding of 4, and we're going to go ahead and make this 4 from our spacing. And now see, we've got our units showing up here and our radii showing up here. We need to correct that. We only want the things that you can use there to show up there. So this is on me. I forgot to. These should only show up in corner radius. And then our new unit of 20 needs to not show up anywhere. This is a little tedious to get set up, but once it's set up, it's actually really nice. And it's really great if you're working with other designers, because then, you're all using the same stuff, which just is nice. And then our gap. Can't we do our gap here? Oh, there we go. Apply variable. 8. And then I think we do this inside as well. So 0. I don't know if it's common practice to use 0 here or not, but why not? Why not fully commit? And there should be no, oh, we have a radius here. Where's our inner radius? Where's our, did I apply that already? 2016. Okay, I did. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's something else we forgot to do. We forgot to do borders. Let's go ahead and create a new one for, I guess, borders. Do we want to do that? Kind of want to rename this one to borders and radii. Then we'll go ahead and create one. Oops, goodness. Goodness me. And then we probably have a border of 2 at certain points. I think we can. Come on, dude. Some like the hotkeys here. I think I hit enter and it closes the panel, which is just drives me nuts sometimes. And what did we do here? We messed this up too. What did I do here? Okay, there we go. Did we? Yeah, this is moving really slow now, and I think it just comes down to I'm running too much stuff for my little tiny MacBook. This can be on the stroke. These can only be applied to corner radius. Should be correct. So this border now, we can set this to 1 because that's only as big as a border can be. And let's see, did we miss any other values? Did we do padding everywhere we needed to? I think we missed on this element. Yep, so 16. Did I do 12 here on purpose? Yep, I guess I did. So now we got to add another one to make this 12. So we have to go into our primitives again, create a new variable for, see, unit 12. Then got to make sure that's not showing up anywhere. Then we got to go into our spacing and create a new variable. Can we just copy and paste? We can. 12. Yeah. Okay. So gap, by the way, applies to margins and spacing. So Figma, for some reason, chose that to be the line they draw for customization. I don't know why. I would have had it so that these values for the padding could be different from this value. I guess there's not really margins, but there are padding in Figma. So I don't know why they don't separate those. Okay, I think that's it for our player card. We can go ahead and delete this original one because we grabbed all the values from it, I think, except for that linear gradient value. So, okay, we're going to stop sharing this. We're going to hop over to a browser now. And actually, let me do one more step first. And I'm not going to show you this, but I'm just actually, you know what? Let's hop over here. So I'm going to go into Figma. I'm going to go ahead and export this file. Right. And I'm on the wrong thing. Oh, see, it's not okay. So it's not showing the pop up, but a pop up to show where I was saving the file at. It wasn't showing it. Okay, we're looking at code now. So we're gonna look at code from here. And the thing that I want to do is, well, just a quick overview. So right now, what we're looking at is just a raw Next.js installation. Next.js is based on React. We're using it just because it has Tailwind integrated. Tailwind is it's what's called a utility first CSS framework. So it used to be that you had to have like two files to manage how something looked, and now you just need one file. Basically, it's not that simple, but it also makes it easier to take that design system that we were setting up in Figma and apply it in code in React. And again, the React part is not that important. React just makes setting up Tailwind super easy, and I don't have to do anything. It's just pre-baked. Okay. So the thing that we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and delete everything that we're looking at right now, and we're just going to create a single div. And that div, we're going to, and yep. So now we've got nothing here. And in that div, we're going to reference an image, and goodness, I can never remember how the image code works for next.js, but typically it's image source. And then I think we say @/image/ this was called new player card. So we're just going to rename it player card. If that shows up. Oops. Close this. I can never remember how to do the images here. Okay, let's just go ahead and undo this and look at how they had it set up originally, because I think they had an image in here. Okay, let me look this up. I have a reference sheet here in my other browser. Okay, so it should be, yeah, I think I did this right. Maybe I just don't even need this. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Okay. Okay, so I guess it requires all the properties. So I think we said 217, right? Is it going to yell at me because it needs a height as well? What is what are the specs for this? Did not tell me. Let me look this up. Okay, 217 by 330. What else might it need? Quality. We're just going to do quality equals. I've got these formatted incorrectly. There we go. Okay, cool. There we go. And so actually what we're going to do here is we're going to take that and we are going to, let's just add another div here in the middle. And we are going to, oops, keep that there. We're going to, and this is where Tailwind starts to come in. So all this stuff I'm doing here is Tailwind. So when I say class name, and we're going to say flex, and then we're going to say, actually we're going to say width full. That's going to set our width to 100% height, or actually we're going to do V height. How do you do vertical height? Whatever. We'll just do height for full for now. And you can see it's telling me that's full height. And then we are going to say flex, items, center, justify center. So justify center is, it's not horizontal. It just has to do with cross axis. So if we hit save, okay, you got there. I'm trying to remember how to do vertical height. I thought it was, or vertical screen height, maybe. What is this? Let me look it up in Tailwind. It's tailwindcss.com. I would pull this up. I'm just, I don't know. I'm just not super set up well to have this many browsers showing at once. So vertical height. Oh, duh. So just type in H. Then it should tell us. Height. We'll just do screen for now. Okay, now you can see that's automatically centered. And then within this, what we're going to do is we're going to copy this image, and then we will just say, I'm going to say class name equals flex, or justify. What is it? Let's just do gap equals 416. All right, so you can see we've got these things side by side. And this is going to be a good way for us to start to set up how we're talking about things. All right, now the part that we're going to do is we're going to go into our globals, which is, this is basically going to be taking the design system that we came up with, and we're going to apply it to the thing that we're looking at here. And so if you remember, I got to open it back up. I closed it to save on some system memory. But we'll go ahead and reopen that again. And we had set our values, our variables, theming, right? We'd set our background to gray 800. So now we're going to grab that gray 800 here, and we are going to hop back over into our browser, and we are going to set that as our background, and then our foreground, which is the default text color. Actually, we got this back. I take that back. We're going to comment this out for now because we aren't going to be doing back dark mode and light mode. So we're just going to comment that out for the moment. Also, we're going to comment out this this part here because I don't like the way that React handles stuff by default. It looks like we actually also got the basic background color wrong. It should be this gray 900. Oh my goodness. So this is why these things take a while, right? Is because it's really easy to just make small mistakes. And when you've got it good, when you've got it done, you've got it done. But there's just a lot of back and forth until you get it done correctly. So this is our gray 900. We're going to hop back over into our VS Code instance. And this is actually our background color. And you'll see this update. There we go. That is correct now. And now what we can start to do is we can start to say our theme And then we can say, what was it we were going to say? Oh, spacing. So the thing we're going to do for spacing is say, how did we do this before? Spacing. Spacing. So what there's a thing that I have to do that is saying um like initial, right? So, but I'm trying to remember how to tell it that I'm just working on spacing here. I'm actually going to have to look this up how I did it in a prior thing. I'm looking for it. Where did I put this? Oh, I think I might have found it. Right. Okay. So theme. Right. Okay. So I have to do spacing initial. Okay. 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 We'll keep that up as a reference. So I think it's spacing dash and what did I already forgot. Oh, okay. Spacing star. So star means everything initial. So what initial is doing is we're saying clear all your default spacing within Tailwind. So right now, if I was to say, padding equals, 20, I don't want these to show up because look at how many of them they are. And remember, we narrowed this down to just a few. The other reason that I don't want these to show up is because I don't like the way that Tailwind has these figured out by default. Because padding 2, for instance, is not 2 pixels. It's like 4 pixels, I think. So equivalent to 8 pixels. And the reason it does this is, again, because the way that design systems used to work is that, I guess before you would have called them design systems, is you would set values a bit more general, like small spacing, medium, large spacing. And, you know, right now, the way that things are is you really set those and then you don't tend to replace them. And if you were to replace like P-2, you could do a search and replace, pretty straightforward in today's age. And I think that would be the preferred way for most devs. It certainly would be for mine. Find and replace is not as hard as it used to be. You can do it without breaking things because of componentization. So we want to clear all of those out. So we're going to do initial and that'll clear everything out. So now when we say P dash, right, you're getting nothing. Okay. Like PX literally means 1 pixel. So you're getting nothing now when you do that. And so now we can go in and say spacing. Yeah. Okay. So spacing 0, right? We had 0. And then spacing 1. And trying to remember how this works. So spacing 1. I had this set up. Oh, it does use pixels. Okay, it doesn't use REMs. Okay, that's fine. So 1 pixel. We might want to be using REMs for these. I can't remember. So REMs is a different type of unit, but that's fine. For now, we'll just stick with pixels. And then we'll just go ahead and change these all at the same time. 8, 12. How many do we have? 16, 30, 48, 24, 48, right? 16, 20, 24. I'm not a professional. Like all I do is not dev anymore. I actually don't spend that much time doing it. So my hotkeys are, my like shortcuts are terrible. So don't think that most devs are this bad with their shortcuts and with how long it takes them to type things. I'm atrocious because I don't do it every day anymore. And I never got used to this program, to VS Code. I just never got used to it. So, okay. So there's our default spacing. And how do we do the colors? So you see it's like the same idea here. And we are using these, okay, like this is like the newer, more refined way to do color. We're not going to do that for now just because I don't want to spend too much time on that. But we're going to go ahead and change our theme colors. So we're going to do theme, and I believe it's color. And then again, initial. And then we're going to say, I wonder, yeah, so color gray, right? So remember, we're using those 3 grays. So gray, this is how we did it. Yeah, okay. Then we say 950. And then remember we had 800. We had, what did we have? 950, 900, 800, 600. And then we had gold and white. Red, white, and then gold. I don't know why I'm skipping back and forth, but 900, 800, 600, whites, brand. So this could be brand, it could be gold. I'm going to use gold 500. I think that's what we had called it in our design system. Then I'm just going to be hopping back and forth and copying these values. So 600. Then like 900. All right, and the last two I'm just going to grab without swapping over with my little Stream Deck. 950 and our gold. And now if we go into our page and we want to say, padding, okay, now we only have the numbers that we'd want it to deal with. And if we want to say background color, now we only have, is it BJ color? Might have to set this for different things. Theme. These colors should just be overall colors. They should not be specific. Why is it not showing up? Did I need to hit save or something? Order? Okay, see, so they're showing up here. Did I forget like my commands? It should just be BG. Oh, they're there. Okay. Alrighty then. So here's what we're going to do is we are going to, so we want to work on the player card, right? So we're going to create a new function just to handle the player card. And these have to use camel case. So, and this is our function. Return means that this is what's going to be sent. And within the return, there has to be a single element. So a div in this case. And then what we can do is we can take this player card and we're going to copy it next to these cards. We're actually going to do it 3 times. So player card. And then we'll get rid of this second image. So now we have our image and then we have 3 player cards and we know that they are here because we're going to just add a border and I will say width, I believe it was 217, and then height 303. Again, these should not be specific values. We're just doing it to um, like illustrate a point. Hello, why are these not showing up? Turn class name. Is it really because it's missing an alt property? I doubt that. It's probably something really silly. Oh, is it? Do I have to export it here? I don't think I need to export. Oh. I should only have to export the one that's the page level. Oh. Oh my goodness, I cannot type. Am I doing this incorrectly? I think I might be doing this incorrectly. Oh, I am. So I recently was using Gatsby and I just started using React. So I was just doing that by default, how I used to do that in Gatsby. And you don't even notice that you're doing it the wrong way. Hello. I spelled function wrong. Well, this is embarrassing. What am I missing here? It just I'm gonna have to have to look this up and how I did this in a different file because I have already solved this problem. Fairly certain I solved this problem before. How do you do function that's on the same page? Should just be, goodness me. Um, is it this easy? Is it just function? Oh, okay. So I think I did that before. I think it just, I didn't wait long enough for it to update maybe. Okay, well that is so easy. That's actually much easier than it was in Gatsby. I'm new to Next.js, so yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, and so now, okay, now why is it not showing up here? Why are these values like it should say hello 3 times here? I'm driving myself nuts with this. Is it in the code? In the exported code? Come on, dude. What am I missing here? What am I missing here? So what this should be showing is that. It should be showing that 3 times. But for some reason it's not grabbing that. I'm just gonna ask Chat AI what I'm missing here from how I'm writing this in here. So function name earn. You know what? Is it this? Does it need to be capitalized? Okay. That's all it was. Needed to be capitalized. Alrighty, well, thanks for your patience with that tangent, with my silliness. Okay, so now we've got this card that we can start to play with and we can start to do things with. And I think the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to make a separate card within the card. And this is going to be where we actually put all the stuff, and we are going to, so this outer layer is where our border is, but then we don't have a background there. So the background is actually going to be on the inner div, and we are going to, background gray 800. You'll see that show up on the inside. Actually, you won't, because it's there we go. Now it's there, and we're going to set some padding on this guy, which is going to be 2 pixels, or no, it's actually 4 pixels, I believe, on the main element. Let me just check that on Figma real quick. Yeah, so see over here, it's 4 pixels. Okay. Is this zoomed out all the way? And then our border actually needs to definitely be 1 pixel. Okay, there, we're looking good. And then we need our radius, and I remember it was, I don't think we set up our radius is in global yet. Theme, or what it's called, is it radius? Okay, it is radius. Then we'll do initial, remember to reset, and then radius 4, or what was it, 16 pixels, and then radius 20 pixels. Oh, and then in here, it's actually called rounded. So doing this wrong. Is it actually supposed to be rounded? Oh, I didn't spell radius correctly. There's a problem. Here we go. There we go. Rounded 20 on the outside, and then rounded 16 on the inside. Okay, so you can see, I mean, it's just already taking shape super quickly. And then let's go ahead and create a div for the bottom area. We won't do the image just yet. And we are going to set this div up to have, we're going to have, we're going to make sure it has, we repeat. Actually, I'm not going to overdo it. I want to kind of show the problems as they show up along the way. So we are going to create a name. So H1, this could be an H2, H3. It just depends on how you have your stuff structured. I mean, this could be an article. So if we make this an article, then it probably makes it a bit more sense for it to be an H1. In this case, it's Oxy. And then we're going to have our score, which is 32. And then we're going to have, like, what do we do? We're going to do that as a row. And then we'll have another row, and we're gonna have our paragraph again. So D for dualist. We're gonna need to do a bit more than that in order to make this really accessible. But we'll just start from there, and we'll just say P. What were we calling this? We'll just say, gosh, there's a couple different ways that we want to do this. We're just gonna list the numbers for now, and then we can go in and fine tune it later. And then I don't have the icons export. Actually, we can probably use Font Awesome for this, but I don't think we're going to get that today. I think we've probably only got another like 10, 15, 20, maybe like 10 minutes left here. And, I don't know how to do a Euro symbol on a American keyboard, so. And we know that these are always going to be uppercase, so we can, say uppercase. I think we can. What is it? Uppercase? Font uppercase? I thought it was just uppercase. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so that works. Just because we always know it's going to be uppercase, we don't have to do that. It's fine. So you can see all the information's here, and then we can start to make it look nice. So we're going to make it flex column, which means all the information is going to go vertically, and then these should be flex. We can actually do this with all of these. So flex. Last name, flex row, because they're horizontal. And we're going to make their width full. And spacing, or justify between, which justify betweens means that stuff will go into end. And then we also need to set our parents to full. All right, you can start to see things coming together. And then we're going to set our padding within the element to, I believe it was 16. Right, so there we're starting to see it come together. It's coming together really quick. And then we know that our, I remember specifically that our gap was 12 because remember I had to go add that value. So the gap between these was 12. We also need to do something similar for this div because we have 3 horizontal elements within it. So we need to say flex. Flex just means that we're using a different method to control it, which allows us to do things similar to how Figma does it, where you're creating gaps and spacing between them. Old CSS couldn't do it, but it's a really nice tool in CSS3. All right, so flex row again, and then what else do we need to do with that? We'll give it a little bit of a gap. Let's do 8. I always default to 8 when I'm doing spacing, and then you can go up or down from there. Like when I'm designing, I know we haven't really, the design sessions were so scuffed that they really weren't worth watching, but if we ever do more, you'll see that I tend to default to doing 8. And then let's I just really quickly, I'm going to go back over to Figma, and let's see if I can go into dev mode, which they are trying to copyright that term, which is really just dumb that they think they can copyright a term like dev mode. I mean, we've been using that wording for a long time. Okay, and then how do I do this in Tailwind? There should be like a background gradients thing. Let me look that up in Tailwind real quick. Oh my goodness. So copy this to my clipboard. This is one of those instances where I'm just gonna where a chatbot can look this up faster than I can. So we are going to add one more element here, and this is going to have, and then we're going to set, let me just look up what the default height was for this in Figma. Oh, I'm back over in Figma. We're not looking at the right thing again. Okay. So 155, we'll hop back over into the code, and this is where we added the gradient. This is what the chatbot spit out for us. And then we're going to say, oops, height equals 155 px pixels. And let's see if that shows up. Oh, it's just h, not height. There we go. And this is actually backwards to bottom instead of to top. So now that's the correct way up. And I believe I have a correct image of Oxy already loaded, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be a little odd because his like, to get the images right, you can see he's like breaking out of the boundaries, and in this image it calculates that. But what we are going to end up needing to do is wrapping it in such a way that this image is not part of the size of the element. It looks like we're missing a rounded borders there. Where's that at? Rounded 16, rounded 20. Looks right to me. At 16. There we go. What did we do wrong? Rounded 16. Do we need to do... Why is that not showing up correct? It might be that we need to do... Okay, so that has something to do with it. We're going to have to figure that out a little bit later, but for now, let's do overflow. Hidden. And what this is doing is, because there's something within that element, it's like it was just causing issues. All right, and then so you see we've got the image of Oxy there, and then do we have to have these values here? What is the... Oh, this is actually really interesting. So the images from the VFL are actually always 200 pixels wide and high, and then you can see it's actually cut things off in our design here. So there's like this little formula we're going to have to create probably tomorrow or whenever I stream next to like cut this off in the right section. But for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to create we've already got a div around it. And what we're going to say in this div is we're going to do flex again, and we're going to do items bottom end. Let's see if that works. I always get this wrong. Yeah, so end, which means it goes to the bottom of the div. And I think that's where we're going to leave it off for today. You can see, I mean, how far we came from where we started. You know, we have something of a, like, you can see the shape already taking place here on this player card, which is really cool. Yeah, so I'm excited to come back tomorrow and maybe we can pick this up and finish it. But this was a really fun exploration in how to create a design system in Figma from a file that you're looking at. And remember, we did all this work on variables in order to create this so that you can do things like very quickly be able to select variables that you know are consistent with the decisions your team has made, as well as be able to switch things quickly between modes like color, theming, etc. And you can do that with sizes and stuff too. And then bringing that over into browser ready code where you've got elements that you can change and really quickly and change colors really quickly. So that's it for today. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know how regular